my like lovely people.
What's up, lovelies?
Lightning in a bottle, baby.
Yeah.
Welcome to Style and Direction, a menswear podcast without the stuffiness. This is Ethan M. Wong.
And I'm Spencer Adi, the other host.
That's right, and we love you.
We do love you. You're lovelies.
That's right.
We love your lovelies, if you know what I mean.
What does that mean?
You know. I told you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean. I said. Yeah.
yeah. Search in your brain, and you'll figure it out.
You'll unlock it. You'll unlock the key.
It's like
the love key.
It's like the ending of The Graduate, where you don't have to wonder what happens at the end. You know it. You got it.
You got it.
It's like the ending of Sopranos too, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the ending of Sopranos where Tony gets married and he's sitting on the back of a bus with his new bride, and then
their smiles fade.
Simon and Garfunkel starts playing,
and then just cut to black.
And Tony's like, "Hey, Carm,
I've never seen The Sopranos. I think that
it's a good show.
Yeah, where is it?
It's on HBO.
Oh, okay.
You should give it a shot. I mean, it's like, there's like a lot of it. It's like 7 seasons. All the episodes are like an hour long.
There's Sopranos Deep Space.
I mean, over in England.
Yeah, there's Sopranos Deep Space Nine. There's Sopranos Voyager. There's Sopranos The Bad Batch.
I want to see like Paulie Walnuts getting into more adventures or whatever. That's what I want.
Yeah, you want to see him fight the Romulans.
I want to see Paulie Walnuts fight the Romulans, and he's like, "Hey, Dylan, we got to go back to San Francisco, get the whales or whatever."
What?
I don't know. Isn't that a Star Trek? I haven't seen any fucking Star Trek. Isn't that a Star Trek movie? They have to go back to San Francisco and do something with whales.
I don't know about whales, but I know that at the end of Into Darkness, like they crash in San Francisco.
Okay. I'm talking like one of the older movies.
Yeah.
we'll figure this out. We're doing it on cinema. We're literally doing an on cinema bit right now.
I've never seen the original Star Trek movies, and we keep saying we're going to do it, but we never.
This is gonna be a whole series. The Sadcast Boys watch Star Trek, and it's not really about clothes.
Yeah,
because they don't wear clothes in the future.
Hey, we just had the Future of Menswear episode, so,
and we said everyone's gonna be naked. So.
Yeah, and naked and watching Star Trek.
The future of menswear is you're gonna take your clothes off
forever.
Hey, that Liverano suit looks pretty good, but it would look better crumpled up on the floor.
just as a mass on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, today we are talking about. I had no segue. I'm just gonna say it. We're talking about practicality and utility. It is something that, like all the other episodes, kind of just goes hand in hand. It's like we're moving towards some sort of menswear end game, and we have to go through Infinity War first. So whatever that. Man. We have like
a bunch of us are gonna die. Like half of us, actually.
Yeah. At what point does a bunch become half? I guess 50%,
when it's
right?
1 out of every 2 people.
Yeah. Okay. That's the real answer. Thanks.
Yeah.
Didn't need a mathematician or a philosopher for that one.
No, nor a mathemagician.
Mathemagician?
Yeah, it's a guy that practices math magic.
I don't. What?
I don't know. It's just like a thing that it's like, when I was like learning math as a kid, there was some program where it's like, we're going to teach you to be a mathemagician. And I think there's like a Simpsons joke about this too. That
sounds like what God warned us about.
He's like, hey, listen, don't mess with. He was like, I'm putting trigonometry in here, but don't go too deep into it. You're gonna find some dark secrets in there.
Dark state secrets, more like.
Dark state secrets. Trigonometry has a bunch of state secrets. So
it's the shape of a Q.
Dude, there you go. We're gonna follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah, come on, Ron Watkins. Come on, come on.
Get on the podcast.
Would we have him on the podcast?
I mean, what the fuck would we talk to? I guess we could. He's into watches, as we discovered. So I guess we could talk to him and Jim about watches, maybe pens.
This here's a Mont Blanc pen, and it's that's
right, Jim.
That's my Jim Watkins impression.
Can you do a Ron? Because he's just kind of like a soft-spoken guy.
Yeah. It's basically like the I don't know. I'm kind of doing like a weird Obama thing.
Voice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
let me be clear. I am Q.
Let me be clear that I used to do it anonymously, but never as Q. Never as Q. Yeah. Check out Q Into the Storm. It's on HBO.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's like The Sopranos.
Yeah, it cuts to black. So yeah, today we're talking about practicality utility. This is, I think a lot of what this 2021 or late 2020 episodes have been about is kind of like us going against a lot of what we've heard about, or like a lot of like the quote critiques from normies that we get about menswear. Yeah. Oh, menswear can't be slouchy. Boom, we did that. Oh, don't have a menswear Instagram account unless you're trying to make money. Boom. Like we're talking about that kind of stuff. And
I mean, I like getting into these kind of more like, abstract topics just because, as we've said the entire history of the podcast, it's hard to do a podcast about fashion because it's all visual. This one's just like, it's like, this warrants a discussion.
Yeah.
We're not just describing the shape of lapels.
We're describing the shape of life. The shape of water,
describing
actually.
the shape of water, yeah. Oscar winner.
Yeah, what's oh man, I'm trying to think of a Michael Shannon quote from the movie. But
I love candy. I love eating candies.
Commie bastard. Or like,
I'm gonna cut off my finger.
All I can think of is I will find him.
I
will find him.
He says people say that a lot in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Common line.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody and they were like doing the cliche. They were talking about like dialogue and they were like, "Oh, that cliche like, oh, how are you doing?" or something. And I'm like, that's just a phrase that people say. That's not a cliche.
I hate saying that, oh, like we're cool, but like why are we always up against people?
He's just got like CinemaSins brain, man. He's just seen too much CinemaSins and now thinks that any common phrase is a cliche.
Like if you go, "Hey man, what's up?" Oh, you're saying that now? You're saying what's up to me?
You're getting that? Okay, sure.
But yeah, no, I like this episode topic because this is we kind of started this with milsurp, right? We kind of talked a little bit about the useful practicality. I mean, that's basically utility, right? Of wearing milsurp, and we said that we were going to do a workwear episode. I don't know if we are still going to do that because this is probably going to go into that.
Yeah, I mean, and also we're sneak peek. I mean, we're doing a big jeans episode in the future, which is probably
gonna incorporate it a little bit.
Is that gonna be wait? Is that gonna be denim or is it gonna be jeans?
Because... No, it's jeans. It's jeans. Okay, I can't. Okay. You guys should know I write so much about everything. I cannot write about denim as a whole, and I already did denim shirts, so
that's true.
I can't. I still have a denim jacket. I still have the 101J. So I might write about that bad boy at some point. But this one, this one comes. The practical and utility aspect of menswear comes because a lot of people say that you can't do it, especially in regards to tailoring. Now, obviously, I wear tailoring more than Spencer. I probably have more stuff to say about that because I wear it more on a daily basis. And you guys see it. I wear it almost no matter what I'm doing. If I'm at home, if I'm hanging out with Spencer, if we're going to a bar, if we're going to a museum, if I'm going to trivia, I still wear tailoring. And I always thought that menswear is practical. And I say that with a big caveat, like we're not like us saying you can change this car tire, you can, wearing this thing.
Or we're not trying to like justify us being into menswear by saying, oh no, it's practical. But I think there is kind of like a prevailing attitude among people who aren't as deep into clothes as we are, that people who take a lot of time, like a lot of care into their dress, put a lot of care into like what they wear, are usually not prepared for, what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
It's like lame to complain about like stereotypes on TV, but it's like, an episode where everyone's going camping and then like one guy shows up and
like Schmidt or Barney or like Aziz Ansari's character, glamping or whatever. Yeah, and I think maybe I never even thought of that, but maybe like that's like culture has like kind of defined that, like even the whole idea of Frasier is that he is woefully unprepared for like real life, right? Like he is just some rich, Italian suited guy, right? Especially Niles too. And I do think, so I've always wanted to do an episode on this because I think that a lot of menswear guys go on the opposite side where they try and make menswear sound as practical as possible. And where they're like, oh, well, yeah, suits have pockets, and we'll get into that. But like,
Hmm.
menswear is half utility, half practical, and also just aesthetics too. Like, we're not going to
Oh,
deny that.
absolutely.
You know,
And I
I
think
think
like,
one of the,
I mean, it's like we'll get into this more in a second, but I like practical things. But I mean, as with always, the first thing that draws my eye, literally, is the aesthetics.
yeah, we talk about a little bit about that in Spencer's camping, like when you help them pick out what to wear in a couple of the bonus episodes.
Hmm.
Um, and and it's always going to be both. And I'm reminded of, I think the first time this ever came up with like our friend group, and this is, predates the Discord, but I remember I was like, oh, the Tide sweater is kind of fun. Like, I want to bring it with me. I don't want to wear it all day. I'll tie it around on my shoulders, and it looks kind of fun. It's kind of douchey, but whatever. And I remember like getting into it with Aldous a little bit where he couldn't like, it's not just all this because a lot of people were like, "Why would you even do that?" Like, it's so. I'm like,
It's
and
completely superfluous. It's just
yeah,
like a
and I'm
sweater
like,
that's there.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, technically, like, if you want to really get into it, technically, it's practical because it's like, I don't have a tote bag with me all the time. Like, this is before I started bringing it with me. Like, I could wear it; it would be there if I needed it, and it's kind of warm. It's kind of like a scarf. Like, if you wanted to do it.
How often did you wear it though after you had it tied around your neck?
I just kept it around my neck.
Yeah, okay. But you could have if it got
Yeah,
cold.
I mean, because it's like, I don't know, like this whole like a lot of episodes. This episode makes no sense because at the end of the day, you just wear whatever you fucking want. But this is kind of like us, like, proving to those normal people out there who can't even completely can't even fathom it, that menswear can be practical.
Or
Okay.
even that there's like that you can find a balance between practicality and aesthetics because again, I think a lot of people just kind of like most like entry level like athleisure or outdoor gear made today looks pretty bad in my opinion.
Yeah, and I
Um,
that could be why, right? Like, we're
mhm.
so accustomed, like cargo shorts are so ubiquitous with like being like an awful fashion choice, and they look awful, like the typical like nylon ones with the zippers, like, yeah, that looks like shit. But obviously there are good, like, we see like techwear variations of it, or even like the Gurkha shorts, or even like
Yeah.
the Milsert pants with the with the hip pockets on the outside, the M43s or whatever. Those are kind of the same idea, but they just look cooler, and there's a lot that goes into it, right? Like material probably plays
Mhm.
into like like cotton twill HBT versus like some like really light waterproof nylon. Like there's a
And I
little bit
mean,
of that in there.
this is also kind of California centric because we live in the perfect environment just to wear cotton year round. Cotton is like the perfect fabric for us, but
We
um,
we also
in a lot of
drive,
parts of
so
the
yeah.
yeah, exactly. But in a lot of parts of the country, you do need like cotton isn't the best, especially in like the winter months.
Yeah. So sorry everyone who doesn't live in California.
Uh huh.
But I mean, yeah. So like I think like a lot of people kind of get this wrong idea because there is this big contrast between utility and a good and aesthetics in the mainstream, right? Like,
Hmm.
you don't go to J Crew to get hiking clothes. They might have like a shoe there, but
Yeah.
you're not
It's
really doing that. And
you're
also
gonna
you're
you're
not
gonna want
going
to go to like REI if you want something like real.
right. And you're not going to go to REI for like your date night shirt,
Uh huh.
and I think and this has been going on for a long time as things get more specialized, and as fashion gets devoid from utility, because I mean before, right, like and we're gonna do this in the future about like old 30s aesthetics or details, but like sportswear was derived from
Yeah.
menswear for a long time until maybe about like the 50s. you know that's when it started to kind of divide, and so as guys who collected as vinswear, vintage menswear,
Vin Diesel.
yeah, collecting Vin Diesel, we kind of have that already in mind, and I think a lot of like classic menswear guys today also have that in mind. Even if they don't collect
Hmm.
vintage, they still kind of approach it that way. And obviously the number one thing is the menswear you get at the mainstream, the people who have these ideas, they're probably picking like overly fine fabrics. Like they're probably getting suits that are super, lightweight and fine in that sense,
Yeah.
right? Like super
Which is, I mean, it's
100,
like
super
unless you're
120s,
going to a specialty, unless you're going to a specialty place, that's what you're gonna find.
Right. No, exactly.
Like there's not a huge market outside the enthusiast market for anything other than like fine wools.
Yeah, because that's what they think people want, right? Like, and you're not getting that same kind of, you're not getting like a Huddersfield thing. You're not getting Fox Brothers, which are made, to be denser or whatever. You're not getting that. This is like whatever
Mm-hmm.
the fucking cheap ass, not I don't know how cheap exactly, but like the super super fine, um, wools are what you see, and
Yeah.
sometimes you see flannel, but like that's not popular. People think, and people always think like, oh, that's old man. See, like it's weird. You can't really win, but that's number one thing. People can't, they can't wear these like H&M or J Crew or Hugo Boss suits and do it and wear it in the same way that like the classic menswear one is too.
Mm-hmm.
You also can't do it if it's too slim. Like that's going to be literally constricting, and it's going to wear faster because it's so close to the tension points on your body, right? Like it's cut close. It's not going to. Of course, you're
And I
going to
mean
treat it more
this,
delicately.
and this does kind of get into like a lot of the details that we do like we prefer like big pockets on coats, big pockets on shirts, stuff like that, um because it's practical. Like
Yeah.
obviously we think it like looks cool, but I think some things like that first and foremost we both like because it's like it's a practical thing.
Yeah, and that's probably why. No, that is literally why vintage clothing has lasted so long. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we've said this before, but like, there's a reason why you can, apart from stains, a vintage like suit, cotton, linen, whatever, they were made heavier. Yeah, it might be too hot, a little bit hot to wear now, but that there's a reason why they're still there. They're not like destroyed, you know.
Mm-hmm. They were
And
like built to last. Like there was an expectation back then that when you bought something that you could have it for 10 plus years.
yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, everything was made to last.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that's kind of not, I don't know about lost now. I don't think that we have as much planned obsolescence as we think there is in
I mean, I
fashion.
think it is.
But
I think it's like kind of lost maybe with suits just because they're no longer a thing that people are wearing all
on
the
the daily,
time.
yeah.
So it's like like a J Crew suit very well could last you 10 years now, but that's only because you wear it like like 3 times a year or something like that. You
Right.
know.
And so, well, let's talk about this on the flip side here, because I think that a lot of menswear guys get into this because they want to quote dress better than they did before, and that typically means dressing up. And so, like when you see this kind of stuff, in like the hashtag menswear, even the people that we follow, there's still a lot more focus on like the fine stuff, even from like a wider fit classic standpoint. It's still not as much like cotton suiting,
Yeah.
whatever. And that's and that comes down to what a lifestyle. And I think we've gotten this a little bit before with a couple people, maybe in the Discord or even our friends, where they say like, I can't wear that all the time because my life doesn't do that. And I'm like, well, you just have to figure out what that is and then find a way to
Hmm.
pivot your clothing to be like that. Like, you know, if you're used to wearing like, a hop sack jacket, which is, it's nice, but, it can be a little bit fine, right? Compared to
Yeah.
something
Wouldn't
else.
want to like do too much in
Snag.
that.
Yeah, you don't want to get the
Yeah.
snag on something.
I mean, I've had
Um,
like my hop sack jacket has snagged on my like side tab trousers.
right. Yeah.
So it happens.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, it's like, yeah, I get that part of it, but like, like, oh, I want to wear, like, that's why I wear like cotton jackets or like, or cotton silk linen stuff or whatever, something that's a little bit different. And I think what we get from a lot of people is that saying like, oh, that's too casual. I'm like, well, you can't, you got to pick, man. You got to figure out what you want it to be, because
Yeah, it's
for
like
me, like that's
complaining.
fine.
Yeah, complaining. It's like, oh, I can't, do anything in this like fine wool suit. It's gonna rip. And then it's like, okay, we'll wear something that's a little bit sturdier. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Then don't complain in the first place because that's
Yeah,
clearly what you
exactly.
want. Yeah.
It's about, having this, it's about like trying to think about it in terms of practicality. Like, and in the end of the day, like if I could wear a navy cotton suit, maybe this won't apply if you're like a lawyer, okay, just whatever. But I could probably wear a navy cotton suit to an interview, and no one would say, "Hey, that's a cotton suit. That's not a wool suit. You're too
Mm-hmm.
casual. You're fired. You're not getting the job." Like that's not that. I don't think that'll ever happen. Like I literally
I
don't
don't
believe
think
you.
that I think that most people who aren't into suits probably wouldn't notice that it's not made of wool. Like they would just think, "Oh, that's wool," because that's what suits are made of. You
Yeah,
know?
no, exactly. And so when you realize that, I mean, it's like, it really opens yourself up to buying things that can be more practical, that can be more useful, that will
Mm-hmm.
last a long time. Like I do think, if you're a hard, if a guy who wear if you're a hard guy, if you wear clothing a little bit hard, you know, cotton might be a good alternative to like a wool suit. I mean, I wear cotton suits more often than my wool suit just because I know that I do stuff in my cotton suits. I wear. Okay, so let's just go to the lifestyle stuff now. So
Yeah.
for me, you guys know I wear ties and stuff, everything like that. Um, I wear my suits. I wear them all day. I pocket fist everything. I keep cameras in my pockets. I keep my big ass wallet. I don't know if you've seen it, but I have a really big, like I have a breast pocket wallet. I have a trifold wallet that has like a snap on it. It doesn't really fit in the back pocket as much. So I put it in my chest pocket. I have like multiple cameras with me all the time. Like I have it on my chest, and if I wear a wool one, it might the friction might catch on something, or whatever.
It
I
might
have
catch on fire
yeah.
because of the friction.
Yeah, it's so hot. I have like a canvas tote bag that, if your canvas can be rough, and if you put it on your shoulder, maybe you start like rubbing against the wool, but on cotton it's okay, and
Mm-hmm.
thinking about clothing in terms of like what you're going to use it for, um, is totally fine. And I think that, if I was being super practical, yeah, I mean, you could wear a t-shirt and shorts and, sneakers, and that would be quote fine.
Yeah.
But I'm able to kind of mix the two together and still be like appropriate and still be true to myself. And we're gonna get to authenticity probably in the next episode, but that's kind of the way that it becomes both aesthetically pleasing for me and practical for me. Like I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's not really that
absolutely.
hard. It's not that hard, I think, to do this. You know.
I no, I don't think so. And I mean, like, I think, I mean, as you said at the top, a lot of this I think does come from being vintage collectors and people that like poured over like old photographs or whatever
Right.
for like inspiration. Um, because I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're wearing were just the practical garments that people were wearing 50, 60 plus years ago, and I don't know. It's again like it's just like kind of things that we look for in tailoring. Like we like a lot of the cuts of older clothing because again, it was kind of more connected to like tailoring, like
Yep.
the proportions of tailoring.
Wider
We like
chinos, wider shorts,
exactly.
stuff like
We
that.
like
Yeah.
we like 100% like natural fibers. It's really hard to get. Obviously, it's hard to get like work clothing, athletic clothing, outdoor stuff that doesn't have like like moisture wicking, polyester, nylon, stretched, whatever. Which again might be more practical, but I think you and I just kind of like the feel of like 100% cotton or just like natural
It
fibers in
also
general.
breaks in better,
Oh yeah,
you
and
know?
it's like maybe some people don't like want their stuff to break in, but out of I think the extra dimension that you get, like when you've had something for a really long time, and it conforms to you and changes a little bit, nothing beats that. It's always gonna look better
Absolutely. And
than like a fine wool suit.
that's what makes it, practical, right? The
Yeah.
idea that you can still wear it across different things. And you touched on this a little bit, but um, but yeah, people don't want it to be both ways. Like it has to be specialized for them, like
Hmm.
each one. And I think that that's so dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I
Uh,
also kind of like think what's like cool about like old school practical clothing is again just because there wasn't it wasn't broken down into like, oh, this is, this is specialized for this task or whatever. You would have people just, wearing whatever they had. They would grab stuff from their closet that's like, oh, this could take a beating or whatever. This has a lot of pockets. And it wasn't like, I'm getting my shirt to do, that's my special shirt to do this.
Right.
I think a lot of this is like really about just like living in your clothing and like not being afraid. Yeah, not being afraid to just like wear it, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's you know, combating the idea that clothing can't be practical is so important because once you do that, then you'll be able to wear whatever you want at all
Hmm.
times. You know, and the idea of like moisture wicking, yeah, I think yeah, people are just so afraid of being so like oh anything becoming unkempt or like whatever, and I feel like that's the maybe the biggest part that makes them not want to think of clothing in practical use, right? Like it has to be
Yeah.
specialized. Um, and also on that note, I don't know if anyone sweats that much. Like I don't. I mean, I guess hyperhidrosis is a thing, but like wear a fucking undershirt, dude. Like
Yeah, they make undershirts for that. It's easy.
yeah, I'd I'd rather have like a slight poly, and probably not, but like I'd rather have like a poly blend undershirt than a poly blend actual shirt.
Hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense in terms of and like those shirts, like I don't know, like they always like pill, like they always like they have like a weird, like they don't, I don't know, they just feel weird, they
Yeah.
they they don't feel like as long lasting as like a Hardy Oxford or something like that. um but yeah, I mean, I think also people just don't really think that they're, no, let me rephrase. You're not literally gonna go from the boardroom to a hike. That's never gonna happen to you, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna, like, oh, I need something to carry. Like, dude, you probably have some sort of messenger bag or a tote bag with you. Like, you don't really need everything to be so, super practical. Um,
Hmm.
and you could make that argument like, oh, well, then I'll just change, right? Which is fine too, but I don't think you want a giant wardrobe either. You want a wardrobe that's like kind of versatile, and we'll get into versatility
Yeah.
later in a second as well. But it it really helps when you look at menswear beyond just being tailoring. And first off, tailoring is practical, okay? Like there's so many pockets in there.
Yes, exactly. Like we're gonna get into this, I think, in a little bit more detail soon. But what is the difference between an unstructured, say, cotton or like maybe a heavy, if you're in a different climate, like heavier tweed sport coat and a short coat? Not a whole lot. It's like three pockets. You even get the bonus of two, maybe three, maybe four inside pockets. Um, I love throwing on sport coats. Like obviously you don't want to do like actual work or like a hike in it, but if you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff around and just going on, like walking around in the city or whatever,
I mean,
uh,
the
a sport coat I think is a really great jacket for that.
people wore them. Like
Yeah.
you always say, like reporters, like yeah, other than like a military jacket, people would still have it. Like they have their pockets full of like
Hmm.
notepads and pens and shit. I mean, you do that.
I do that whenever I wear a suit, I like have stuff in my pockets.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Other than like my wallet, my keys, like I've literally got like maybe like an extra roll of film. I got my sunglasses in there.
Hmm.
I got my phone. I got a pen also because just in case. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't need like a suit that has like a fucking 100 hidden zip pockets in it and a place to like charge my earbuds or whatever. Like it's fine. I don't need that.
I On that note, when I was a kid and I used to wear cargo pants, I would always be scared. Maybe it's because like I did that thing where like you overcharge like your DS, so then like
Uh-huh.
the battery doesn't last as long. So I remember, uh, and I also think that when you're a kid, time feels so long. But like,
Hmm.
and also we didn't have cell phones. But like I remember like going to the movies, and before AMC, A list, and everything, before you could like pick your seat, like you would have to get there right when the other movie ends, so you could sit right in the middle. So like like, because I
You
hate.
got the prime seats.
Yeah, exactly. And so like, oh, what do I do? And your dad, my dad would like buy popcorn. It's like, okay, you gotta wait here. Save the seats. Put your. So I would like have these cargo pants, cargo shorts, or pants. I think they had a zip. Um, but you have like your DS, your little cell phone that your dad uses for emergencies, the
Yeah.
Ziploc bag full of different DS games, a Ziploc bag full of full of batteries.
Batteries.
Yeah,
Were they all new?
no, no,
Okay.
yeah. Um, but I mean, yeah, I think I've always had that in mind, and so that probably has translated to I bring like I probably don't need like 3 cameras on me, but like, okay, I need like the main camera. I need my film, like my film SLR.
I mean,
And I
you
need my,
know
like,
that
point
I
and shoot.
love to carry shit with me. Like in my car,
Yeah.
I have a suitcase with like a change of clothes, like toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant. Like I have probably only had to use it like once, but yeah, if I'm ever like stranded somewhere or just need a change of clothes, I have it and it makes me feel
See,
safe. I
I
like
I
it.
used to have jeans like that, but I realized I just never wore them. I just gave them away or something because it
Hmm.
just felt like I also, this is a menswear thing. If I was stranded, I wouldn't want to wear those. Like I'm like I don't want the last thing people see of me to be like some low rise jeans and some shitty ass
Yeah.
sneakers, you know. Um, but no, I totally get you. I mean, I still carry like my tote bag with me full of like like charger USB stuff.
Yeah.
But the difference is that it's cool, you know. Like I think, and even then, like I could like like the suits that I wear, everything. I think that this is it's so practical. Like I know a couple of guys. I remember I've said this before. I remember on Dapper Day, and this is before when I would wear like I hated this, but I think I would bring like my camera bag, and it was one of those camera
Hmm.
bags that's kind of small and it fits like the camera like that T shape, like vertically with the lens facing down, and it have like a little like foam partition so like it fits in perfectly and you zip it up. And I hated it, but like I thought that that's what you had to do, right? Like your dad would have the camera bag on his back on like trips, and it would be weird. Like one of my first ever Dapper Days, I was wearing, and I'll find a picture of it. I don't think I have a picture of it with my camera bag because I'm pretty sure I put it down, but I'm wearing like my brown fedora, navy jacket, cream trousers, and I got this fucking like camera
Little
bag,
backpack.
little
Yeah.
backpack thing, and we met this guy for the first time. His name was Dylan. He's still like kind of around, cool vintage guy, and
Hmm.
he was like this sounds. I told Spencer like immediately after because I don't think Spencer came to this Dapper Day, but we were wearing I was wearing that and he was wearing like a Palm Beach DB jacket with navy trousers, Panama hat, and he had like he's kind of like an old soul. He had like his newspaper in his pocket. He had like his glasses case in his pocket. It was like kind of bulging out, and I was like, "Whoa, he's using the pockets, man! Like that's crazy." And like that always kind of stuck with me. I wish I kind of got more and more into that, and I do it now where I kind of have a tote bag because I remember when I went to New York, I still had like my canvas camera bag with me, and Spencer had a tote bag, and this is before I ever bought a tote bag, and I was like, man, I
Hmm.
wish I didn't bring that because it just doesn't go. It didn't look like a Filson as good, you know what I mean? It was like some cheap ass canvas messenger slash camera bag and everything. Um, but yeah, I think when I went to New York, when I went to Japan, I kind of, I got used to using my pockets more, and it's
Hmm.
still a continuing journey because, like I'm sure like all of you, like I still don't want to be
Your
super,
pocket journey.
yeah, the pocket journey. Um, but yeah, when I went to Japan, I wore my jungle jacket, and we'll get into that. But like I put like everything in those pockets. I didn't even have anything in my pants pockets because I kept taking stuff out because like you need to use it like on the train. So I use the train to go everywhere. You
I mean,
gotta
it's
have
easier to get stuff from your jacket pocket than it is your pants pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe it's because like I'm a photographer. I love snapping pics of my friends. So, like I gotta have like my phone at the ready. Especially yeah, Japan, New York, whatever. Like you're constantly using the subway, constantly using the bus. It's good to have it in like your breast pocket to take out. You know, and yeah, I just started seeing or paying attention to these people who would use these classic menswear items. Doesn't matter if it's short coat
Hmm.
or tailoring, and they would just use it. There are lots of pictures of my friend Ryan, who yeah, he had a tote bag, of course, to have like his iPad for illustrating, but he also put his fucking like his like Copic markers in his pockets. He
Hmm.
had like sketchbooks and pencils in there, and it's so cool. And if we're talking about authenticity in the future or like POV, I always want to be like that kind of like artsy menswear guy, photographer, or whatever. And the way you signal that and get use out of it is literally by bringing the pieces you use to make art with you at all times. You know,
Exactly.
so, yeah, Spencer has his notepad for reporting or whatever. I've got
Hmm.
literally like all my cameras, film rolls, and everything on me. And tailoring works just fine. Like obviously pay attention to the fabrics. Don't I don't know if it'll work with like a skinny fit Zara suit, but like a
Yeah.
wider
I mean, if you get
trouser,
if you get the right stuff, then a suit or sport coat can be very practical. And do we want to talk a little bit about kind of like what makes it practical now?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I mean, like, it sounds bad, but
Or not sport coats, but just clothing in general, like what
oh
we look
yeah,
for in practical clothing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for tailoring, since we're on it, obviously like open weave stuff, but like a heavier fabric, like not too heavy. Like I like crisp.
Which is that's how vintage fabrics were. They tended to be heavier, but they had a looser weave, so they were more breathable.
Okay, yeah. That's kind of what it was. Like you have like these like air tex basket weave stuff. I don't know what you call it, but like it's more practical. And that's what I liked. When I worked at Ascot Chang before, I liked going through the fabric books and finding, okay, this would be good to use as a suit or a sport coat because I would wear it all the time. Like I just immediately discard anything like super like 7 ounce like super 120. I'm like, no, like it's got to be like 8 to 9. That's perfect. Open weave crisp air is like right there. It's dense enough, but still open weave to be practical. I mean it might not be the coolest fabric, it's not like you're wearing a t-shirt obviously, but it still helps. It can take a beating. I did snag because I had my tote bag and I used to put pins on my tote bag, and there was an errant
Ooh, that's right,
an errant prong, and it did snag. And maybe if it was like a thinner one, it probably would have made it worse, but it luckily it was like very small. I don't think it's worth to get rewoven just for that small piece, but it's okay. It's fine. And I feel, because it's so dense, I feel like I can put stuff in my pockets, and it's got this high twist or whatever, so it springs back. It doesn't wrinkle as easily, and it feels fine. I might wear it even today, and if you don't see it on my stories, it's probably because I didn't decide on wearing it. But it's stuff like that. Like the green
well,
jacket
if you're listening to this episode when it's coming out, you're not going to see it on your stories because this was like a month ago.
A month ago.
When we're recording this is a month from when this comes out or something.
Yeah, exactly. But there's I hung out with Chris, and you guys will probably see this in my story, but like you guys have seen this in my story, but I have worn, like, I had like my camera on my shoulder and everything, and water bottle. Like nowadays I don't care how it looks. Like I think this is like the full like progression of pocket fisting. I will go out there with like wallet, keys, camera, water bottle in my pocket. Like I don't, it's practical. Like who cares? You know what I mean? Like
it's like I don't want to hold this water bottle all day. It fits in my pocket. Why not?
And I don't. And unfortunately, like I think I said before in our bag one, none of my bags have long enough straps to hold on my shoulder, so I have to always hold it. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to hold anything. I'm gonna put it in my pockets. But let's talk next about like, okay, the other stuff now. Workwear. I mean, chore coats ultimate, right? Like that's
right. I mean, we talked about this. Like, okay, yeah, sure, maybe like sport coats, you don't want to invest in them because they're good ones are pricey or don't work with your wardrobe. Then get a chore coat, like a French moleskin blue chore coat is like great and goes with everything. I have my denim. I have two denim ones. I have one super beat up one that I got from Raggedy Threads in LA, which is pretty cool. I might be selling that one, so I guess hit me up if you're interested. And then a more a normal looking one that I got from a friend of the pod, or I guess patron, friend of the pod, whatever, Henrik, which is an incredibly practical garment, especially if you get one that's like kind of similar in length to a sport coat. And hey, we've talked about this before, but the reason we like longer sport coats and longer coats in general is another practical thing, and it's because it's easier to put things in your pockets and get things out of your pockets if it's longer. Longer chore coats, big pockets. Like my Sears chore coat that I got from Henrik even has a big inside pocket. It's like incredible. I love that jacket.
Yeah, I remember my Uniqlo one that I brought, like the jersey knit kind of poly blend, unfortunately, but I wore that to Japan, and that had like the 3 outside pockets, and then it had one inside one, and that was like the inside one I used for like my passport, like the more important stuff, but it was still like I can still grab it easily instead of like,
Oh
'cause
yeah.
I also wore like my teenage jeans, and those they're still stiff because I don't know. I think the
They're,
more I wear it, the more I realize I don't know if it's like that exact wide leg is for me, and especially the sturdy denim. Um, and but anyway, I didn't want to put anything in my
well,
jeans
the other
pockets.
issue with the
Oh,
teenage jeans, which I still love and
shallow,
still wear, but well,
shallow
this is
pockets.
yeah, shallow pocket bags, which is why you have to wear a jacket with it.
Yeah.
I am seriously considering taking them to a tailor and getting the pocket bags
We
replaced
keep we
because
keep saying this. I know it's gonna happen
it's pretty
eventually.
crazy. It's I mean, I feel bad trashing the brand because I do think it's a really cool
It's
jean,
they're
and
dead
also
though.
it's
I mean,
not. They're not here anymore. They went
yeah,
out of
that's right.
business.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a huge minus
Yep.
is the
Um.
shallow pocket bags.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, like a lot of men's wear, like yeah, pants are cool, and I think a lot of guys think that you gotta have utility pants, like slim fit, stretch, whatever.
Mm,
No, man, the answer is in the jackets, bro. Like you gotta have a
yeah.
cool sport coat, chore jacket. Even leather jackets have fucking zippers for everything in there, man. Like there's so
Mm-hmm.
much. I like my black D pocket. I love that thing. I love like there's that big H like that slanted zipper. I put my wallet in there. I put the keys in the little coin one. There's so much to put in there, and I fucking love that thing. You know, but yeah, I mean, workwear is so practical. I mean, from the pants for pants, it's usually gonna be just hard wearing stuff that
Yeah. And I
typically
mean,
if you
well, you just talked about this a little bit, but it's like, like yeah, like why would you want slim fit pants that you're going to be doing things in?
yeah.
Um
Mm-hmm.
that like yeah, so like I think yeah, just like if you're actually going to be doing stuff in pants, if you're going to be hiking or even just like again spending all day walking around, why not go with something with at least a straight leg, maybe not even wide fit, but slim
Because
clothes just aren't
I feel
practical in
yeah,
my
and I
opinion.
feel like not only they get draped, you get like airflow, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
like. Here's the thing, I feel like I get hotter when things are slimmer. Like
Yeah.
as
If
much
you
as
can
like
feel the fabric constantly like pressing against you, that's not fun.
yeah, no, exactly. And the thing with all this stuff is like these are all pretty stylish things,
Mm.
like obviously athleisure is a thing. I just don't think that like sweatpants or like athletic trousers or whatever or even shirts don't really go with a lot. Like they just don't like they're not really conducive to like other styles. While this stuff kind of works, it's still classic menswear, but like you could still wear like military chinos or like workwear pants or like wide leg denims with tailoring. At creative offices. Low key lawyer from like like my friend like yeah my like our friend Michael wears cotton suits from fucking Universal
Yeah.
Works, and it's fine like
Which
and
are like their work suits, like quote unquote, like, chore suits or whatever. And he
yeah.
wears them to a law office and no one gives him any guff. So
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean,
all these people
again,
saying, "Oh, I'll
can't
never be able to wear this in the office," you're lying.
again, he is a California lawyer, so it's that might be the big difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the stuff, that's just basically what it is. These cotton twills, HBTs, even shirts. Like I don't like, I still have a lot of broadlands, broadcloth / poplin shirts. And yeah, I wear them, but if I know I'm gonna be wearing something that's gonna take a beating, I like walking around or even going to the beach. Like things don't always. I understand that practicality doesn't always mean that you're gonna be working at it. I know that like
Hmm.
you want something that you can wear to the beach, and yeah, maybe you can't wear a sport coat to the beach, but you can. I mean, you could wear a cotton linen one, or madras,
Yeah.
right? You could still do that. It's still fine. We've kind of done that,
We had a
but
friend do that.
yeah, I just wish maybe he didn't wear like chinos. He should have worn like shorts. I think it would have been fine if he wore shorts, you know.
Yeah.
But like you could wear like a chore coat, and we've worn like chore blazers to the beach, or like our terry cloth shirts,
Hmm.
which are basically chore coats but made out of terry cloth. Like they've got
And I mean,
fucking
yeah, talking
pockets.
about practical clothing, like what's more practical if you're going to be at the beach or at a pool than a shirt made of towel? Like
Yeah,
that's the ultimate garment.
absolutely. Like yeah, put away your like just wear a polo shirt to the beach or a t-shirt or what linen. Like not no. Terry, like bro, like you're
It's wear
sleeping.
it, wear a towel. It's so easy.
Spencer, when I was at the flea market last weekend, this should date you how long this was record in advance. I saw terry cloth drawstring pants, and I was so close
Ooh.
to. They're probably women's. They're probably, you know what I mean. But
Okay.
I was like, bro, someone make this thing, man. I will buy it right
I mean,
now.
dude, it's like we keep seeing in Esquire like all these like really cool like like old Esquire illustrations, all these like really incredible like double-breasted like terry cloth patch pocket jackets, robes, whatever, and I'm like, holy shit! Like someone needs to make these again. These are so cool.
Yeah, I keep hoping I find it. I mean, there was an article about like the terry cloth Ulster robe, which is I think is really cool. Like it's a good, like, I think that Tire House had it, and I think like Anderson and Shepherd or whoever made one. But like, it's like a polo Ulster. It's got the Ulster collar, like, the piping, or like the swelled edge, nice patch pockets on the thing. I love that thing, but just make it shorter. Add some DB buttons on it, breast pocket.
Yeah.
I if a tailor is listening to this, please. I don't know if
I mean,
could
once
ever
again,
have,
like the solution is we just need a brand to give us the reins for a capsule collection. Like
Yeah.
we need to get successful enough that we can do a style and direction capsule collection with like the fucking we will do a word like a sport vest, and we'll do the terry cloth double-breasted jacket and like a suede
Spencer, I just
like
got an
Lee
idea.
zip jacket. What?
Imagine, okay, I know none of us are actually like sewing people, but we could just buy fucking random ass towels and make a fun terry cloth shirt, like the DB.
You could.
Like that
That
would
would be
be
fun.
like, like pinks and blues and everything. Like, I think that's kind of
Yeah.
fucking sick as a DB like thing you wear to the pool. Epic, man. But yeah, I mean, there's the terry cloth shirt should show you that practicality, even in like leisure, is possible, and it's still fucking stylish,
It's still
man.
it can
still
look
looks
great.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like none of this stuff looks bad. I mean, the only thing you have to get into your head is that it's menswear. Like if you're super into tech wear, that's fine. And tech wear is like, I've seen videos like first off, I think tech wear is that obsession with versatility taken to the max. It's probably exactly what that means. But I'm like, dude, I know it looks cool. Urban Goth Ninja, it looks sick as hell. I mean, I'm an operator. I like operators. I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
But I don't actually need like 20 micro zip pockets all over.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, see those like Kickstarters for it's like the only suit you'll ever need, or the only like the travel hoodie, and it has like a million pockets, and it's like, honestly, how are you going to be filling up all these? And I know we've talked about like, oh, we carry so much stuff in our pockets, but we all fucking put them into like 2 pockets, you know? Like it's all just there together.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to
again,
dig
like,
through everything.
and I think we carry a lot of stuff more than the actual person. Like, I'm a literal photographer. I literally bring a camera.
Uh-huh.
I don't need a lot of that, too many pockets, you know? But on that level, some of the terry cloth stuff, I mean, like we talked about this before, rayon gab, dude. Like that is,
That's a great summer fabric. And it's maybe not like workwear, but if you're just thinking, oh, I'm going to be like out today and it's going to be hot, it's like, yeah, it's a really great fabric. It drapes really well. It just has this cool sheen to it.
You have unbuttoned, there's a lot of great airflow that you get with it. It breaks. I think a lot of mine say dry clean only. I've washed mine. None of them have shrank. Maybe they might have bled, but they, like, they're fine. And I love, if, like I said, like, how we talked about in the OCBD, like, okay, like if I'm not wearing Spear Point, if I'm gonna do something a little bit more rugged, I wear the OCBD. If I'm gonna be going out and I don't need a tie at all, rayon gab shirts, man. Literally, it's sad that it's only as a Hawaiian shirt now, so you don't get like that plain, like the plain vintage westerns or the plain vintage sport shirts.
Wive, they're doing something similar right now.
It's
with
a Tencel, I
with
think,
their westerns, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, same kind of deal, and those Western shirts, I mean, I'm sure stylistically that's why they're coming back, because they are practical, they are hard wearing, and they look good, with everything. And I mean, really quick on that too, like versatility is also practical too. Like you want to get something that will work with other things. Like I said, with like tech wear and the really cool stuff, if your only mode of dress is tech wear, then it's good. But like, say like, for people like us who like to dip into multiple aesthetics, classic menswear allows you to kind of get that into that, military chinos with a rugby kind of work for Ivy.
It lends itself to a lot of different styles.
Exactly. That's a big part. Like, and I think that if you get that in your head, you also are allowed to think of things practically and, with utility, like, okay, I can wear this to work, and I can wear it to hang out with my friends, and I can wear this to like a bar, and I can wear this if I'm gonna go on a photo shoot or go study or whatever. Like you can do that without being
Yeah.
too weird, and it still fucking looks good. Okay.
Do we want to spend the last 15, 20 minutes going over just the most practical things that we have in our wardrobe?
Oh yeah. Well, but before we do that, let's just say, like,
Yeah.
we're not trying to discount modern stuff. Like,
Oh
there's
no,
still,
absolutely. Like,
yeah.
I think as with everything, this is all our personal preference. Again, as people who who like spent our formative menswear years collecting
Right.
vintage stuff.
Right.
We just have I don't know. I think we have an affinity for that kind of old school look.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, obviously we all own modern things. Like, I have like modern undershirts, I guess. Like, I mean, mine. I mean, it's still cotton, but it's like, I don't know.
You're not going out and buying like vintage undershirts or even like
Yeah.
like stuff like you're not gonna drop $50 or $70 on like a 3-pack of the Velveteen, heavyweight vintage t-shirts,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I will say sneakers are probably better now than before in that sense, where there's just more comfort. Probably more so with athletics. But I still, like, I wear Vans Authentics, and uh, it's probably because vintage sneakers get hard and they feel weird and crusty, so they're not really that good. But there's that stuff too. I mean, and also, like we said, like the lighter, like, I think that vintage tweeds feel cool, but vintage wools probably don't outclass modern wools. Again,
Yeah.
don't get the super fine stuff, but like stuff like Crisp Air, stuff along that line, Fox Air probably, where it's like still dense and still there's a lot of drape, but it's still open weave. I don't know if dense and open weave are actually in odds with each other in that word, but like it feels like there's heft to it, but it's also open weave.
Yeah, it has like weight.
Yeah, I think that is probably one thing that the modern stuff is better. I think also, like, probably modern shoes probably feel better.
Well, yeah, like we said, it's like with a lot of like a lot of vintage athletic sneakers don't have a whole lot of arch support or ankle support, stuff like that.
Yeah. And
We were talking because you just bought a pair of sneakers, and it was like one of those things where it's like you don't want to get like I'll talk about these in a little bit, but I have my Nike Waffle Racers, it's like a reissue of one of the first like Nike running shoes. And I mean, I haven't tried to like work out in them, but from what I understand, they are not good for that.
yeah,
So,
no, yeah, that's why I had to buy literal new ones. I
Uh-huh.
can't just wear like vintage Converse or whatever. But yeah, also, like, one obviously last piece here before we get into like what we like to wear as practicality. But try and avoid dry clean stuff as much as possible. That definitely means suits if you don't really need it. I think like the Universal Works, like, washable suit. I don't know if they're washable, but like like the cotton suits, cotton work suits that are instructed that you can wash. I think that's fine. But yeah, in general, right? Like these are like way better, and I think cotton can resist friction better than like wool, because like wool will start
Yeah.
to pill and like degrade like if you sweat too much. So cotton doesn't really do that. I think like jeans aren't as and jeans, like, you can wear jeans with everything, you know what I mean, like there's still there's a reason why jeans are really good. But yeah, focusing cotton, chino, HBT, stuff like that. A lot of Spencer and I's wardrobe is majority cotton.
Yeah.
Variations thereof. I think only our
I think if we
tailoring-
both if we both had it our way, like all our suits could be cotton. Like that
could
would
be. I
fine
mean,
with me.
I still like wool. But,
It's nice to have the variety, but it's like that's again in Southern California, really nothing. No cloth beats cotton.
Yeah, and hey, that also extends to corduroy. Like that still is
Yeah.
a very hard. And if you look at a lot of like old ski wear, old like hiking wear, work wear, what was it made out of? Fucking corduroy. Obviously there was cotton twill and like but there was corduroy. That's like a big deal of why it was so. It's such a great casual, and that's why trad people consider it casual, because it came from that kind of background.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean,
like
it was like a European workwear fabric. Like that was what it
yeah,
was.
no, exactly. Yeah, taking these again, Spencer and I take these cues from vintage, these ideas that sportswear and workwear came from tailoring a little bit, or they kind of were more mixed together as opposed to now where it's so separate. But I think it's good to have that mindset where like what you buy should be seen as practical and aesthetically pleasing. I
Yeah.
We're probably in the minority in the Discord, maybe, that we tend to kind of combine all of our clothes together, as opposed to some people who have like a lot more like, like our friend Kiyoshi will have like 18 for like really casual stuff, and then he'll wear tailoring for work. But for us, I think we could probably put the two together, like those two vibes, and that's kind of like the big thing about the big casual Ethan essay, where like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to just be like rugged ivy or workwear. I needed to kind of find a way to meld it with what I wanted from tailoring, and the answer is that you can definitely do that kind of thing. That is definitely possible. It
Yeah.
just takes a mindset and a desire. So let's finish off here. Let's talk about some of our favorite things to wear that's practical. We talked a little about our chore coats and everything.
Yeah. And so I think we got to give a shout out to maybe the most practical garment of all time, the jungle jacket.
Yeah, seriously,
Um,
man.
which there was like a little bit of discussion about this in the Discord. I don't remember who it was, but someone was like, I just don't understand why the jungle jacket looks like this, like with the weird pockets or whatever. And I think this is what's kind of cool about like old school workwear or military surplus. So for those of you who don't know, and I think probably everyone listening does, but just in case,
Yeah.
jungle jacket was like the fatigue, like, combat jacket worn during the Vietnam War. What's notable about it, it's like, pretty standard, like looks like a BDU, just olive green, cotton ripstop or
Ripstop,
poplin
yep.
fabric. But then it's got slanted breast pockets, and all the pockets have they're bellow pockets and they're pleated. And so
And
someone was like,
flapped.
I just don't.
And flapped.
Yeah, and flapped. And someone was like, I just don't understand why the pockets are like that. But it's like, yeah, it's like, it looks kind of weird, but it's for a practical reason. The pockets are pleated and, bellowed, so you can fit more stuff in it.
It's supposedly
It-
right or based on the paratrooper jacket, which had a
Yeah,
belt.
it's based on the paratrooper jacket, but then the breast pockets are slanted, so it's easier to like reach in. And again,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a weird, design, but it's for a practical reason, and it gives it a really unique look, and that's what I think is cool about it.
That's the basis of like why it was so. I don't know if menswear guys got it too because it's useful, but like I literally like wearing it with not just tailoring but t-shirts, whatever, because I got so much stuff.
It has
man.
like, and you can fit like a shit ton of those pockets. Like it's
Yeah.
incredible,
And
especially
you
if
can
you're
close the
using
pocket so it
if
doesn't fall out.
yeah, and if you're using all four, like man, you can do whatever. But yeah, we both have. I mean, the first ones we got were from Uniqlo, which I think they're fine because they're pretty standard. Like they were almost
Kind
like
of slim
reproductions.
though, but
A little bit slim, a little bit shorter than the originals, obviously, and the fabric was a lot thinner. Which some people were like, "Oh, that's nice because then you can wear it when it's hotter." But I don't think the difference between a Uniqlo reproduction and the original is enough that like the original would make you overheat. It's a pretty lightweight jacket, regardless.
they wore that's why they wore it.
Yeah, they wore him in the jungle. So I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
That's-
mean, if you can get one of those, and the prices unfortunately have been going up the last few years for a jungle jacket, but I heartily recommend trying to find one. There's still enough out
any
there.
kind of like military jacket. There's different variations of it.
Yeah,
Obviously,
like,
we the jungle.
we'd recommend sticking to the ones that are 100% cotton.
Yeah.
And just the vintage ones. I think the vintage like ripstop olive ones just have a much more interesting color than the poly blend ones you get in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. But I was also gonna say like military jackets of all kinds. We talked about some military, but like the M43s, those are still practical.
Oh yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe more
Or, like,
against the
my-
elements, But
Yeah. I mean, I have my like World War II utility, like HBT, Marine Corps chore coat thing. It's just like a 3-pocket olive drab HBT chore coat, and I wear that like fucking like twice a week because again, it's just like it's kind of. I mean, it's like the same. It's like same configuration as a chore coat or sport coat. It's roughly the same length. It's got the 3 pockets. It's just like very easy to throw on with everything.
Well, on that, I also want to shout out the Drake's overshirt. I really like that thing. I don't wear it as much now because I'm not really going out. Well, maybe it'll change. But yeah, I like lots of pockets, button flaps, nice and pleated. They got the interior. You got the interior ones, which is really good. I've got two of them. I've got red and blue.
Yeah.
I don't know about the sizing now. I think they gotten slimmer, which is unfortunate over the years. But yeah, I still like wearing that. I still love putting, stuff in my pockets and everything. Literally goes with so much, ties and everything like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
what else is there? I mean, there's so much. We talked about the towel shirt already. We
we
talked about
talked
the
about the
OCBD.
OCBD, yeah, in that full
Literally,
episode, but what a
pockets.
practical garment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, Something that we've obviously have a full episode on the Milsurp stuff. In terms of like workwear, I mean, leather, like I said, leather jackets are really practical for me because I have a lot of pockets and stuff in there that I use. It's warm, it's still, and also
Is the secret
looks
to
cool.
practicality just like big pockets? Like, is that like all we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't see the thing with techwear is that they always have mini pockets, like zips and like little flap.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
small pockets, but we want like four big
yeah,
ones.
bellow. I'm telling you that I put this in the notes for the perfect suit, the bespoke suit one. But that fucking suit from It Happened One
Uh
Night
huh.
is the best suit of all time, man. Like I would
Yeah.
wear that shit. I don't know if I would wear it as a sport coat. I probably would if I had the full suit. But it's so good. I could think of so many stuff I could do with that. But yeah, OCBD, like, Spencer and I routinely use our breast pockets in our shirts a lot. We
Yeah.
I put my phone in there.
I put
Um,
my wallet in there because I too have a breast wallet which
yeah.
sticks out of my back pocket. So
Yeah.
I
Yours
usually
is
keep my
yours is
wallet
thinner
in
than
my
mine, so yours will work for,
yeah, and I normally keep mine in my shirt pocket.
Right.
If I can, yeah.
What's else? Something that we both like doing, and I think that we kind of see now is more sport coat fits.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer routinely, like if we're going out, even though yeah he could wear a short coat, like he'll still wear like a tweed jacket or whatever. It's still practical, looks nice, looks cool against boots. It's like a '70s kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, because
Um,
it's like, oh, well, it's like, it's not, it was happening in the fall a lot because I just don't have a whole lot of mid-weight jackets, I guess. Well, I do, but I just get bored of them. And it's like, oh, I could wear the same olive or blue mid-weight jacket that I've worn, three other times. Or I can throw on this tweed sport coat, which isn't going to be uncomfortable, has a lot of pockets, it's going to keep me warm, like whatever. That's the
yeah.
mindset behind it.
And
Yeah.
then like propping your collar up is kind of cool too. I mean, I'm kind of,
Hmm.
I don't know, that doesn't really work with like tail, like with like tie, but wearing it with like, like a
If
sweater
you're
or like a
doing, yeah,
rayon
exactly.
shirt or something. I think it looks really cool. Um, I will also say I do love my utility vest. I got that
Hmm.
from Informale. It's probably the literal, like, I mean, that's kind of becoming a thing. Like when I wrote about it, it was like the tail end of that whole utility trend, right? Like every guys are wearing like safety vests and like fisherman vests. But I do like the more tailored ones from like Informale or P. Johnson, I think, or even like the sport vest, that you see.
Yeah.
Like I think it
I
looks
mean,
really cool, so practical.
I have my Browns Beach, which I wore all the time over the last year, just at home, just to keep my core warm, and also because it's got those four big ass pockets that I could put whatever I needed in there.
Yeah, and they go with like you could wear it with chinos, you could wear it with
Yeah.
a hoodie. Like it still looks good with like so many different things.
Hmm.
Um, there's also like getting into hats, right? I mean, we had a whole episode on that, but like bucket hats, ball caps, like these protect you from the sun, and they look cool. It's not like you don't have to wear a hoodie, like and put
Yeah.
that on. Like you
I
can you
mean,
can
yeah, like a cotton bucket hat is the ultimate summer hat because it's like casual enough that it can be worn because it's like I love my like Western my Stratoliner, my Stetson. But, you don't always want to be wearing a cowboy hat. Sometimes you want something that you can just like take off and stuff in your pocket, which a cotton bucket hat you can do.
I mean, I do like wearing my fedora a lot. I love wearing it in the it's yeah, bucket hats are cool, but it's cotton so it absorbs water when it's
Well,
raining.
I think
Fedora,
I
right?
think like bucket hats are better for summer. Fedoras are going to be
Yeah.
better for fall winter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do like fedoras are like ultimately practical. I mean, there's beanies too. And the thing was, you know, okay, I'll come back to that note later, but I just want to say like sometimes to make it practical and to make it utilitarian within menswear, you have to just be okay with being casual. Like if your concern is
Hmm.
being formal all the time, then it probably isn't going to work for you. Um, I mean, watches are practical. That's cool style
Yeah, I
thing,
mean,
right?
yeah, it's like what I've been getting more into watches recently, and what I find that I like more than dress watches is I think like tool watches are cool. Like I'm, for example, right now wearing my Seiko dive watch from the 70s. And I don't use it for diving, but it has this rotating bezel where sometimes if I'm like, oh, I need to do something 15 minutes from now, I can set a timer on my phone, or I can just set the bezel and it does it.
Yeah.
Which I think, not using it for its intended purpose, but I'm still getting some practical use out of it.
Yeah, and I think I don't really wear watches as much, but I think I do like the practicality of it. I know that Aldous has said that it's like a combination of like just like mechanical genius and utility all packed into one really cool piece of metal on your wrist. But yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of options out there that you can do within menswear to be practical and everything. It's clothing's supposed to be lived in. I don't
Absolutely.
I don't think that you have to have everything so partitioned or so specialized. Like you can absolutely do everything that we're doing. Because there's this idea that we talked about, and this maybe should have been at the front of it, but we'll close out maybe like next 5 minutes. But like the idea of forced versatility, I think, is something that is what happens in menswear. Like you really like this thing, so you're going to make it work for you across everything that you want it to do. That's kind of the base behind wearing a sport coat all the time. Like, yeah, we don't have to wear it. We probably could wear some like nylon dad jacket or a Patagonia vest or something. But I love it. I love the look
exactly
of a sport coat. And so I'm going to turn it into what guys would do from a Patagonia sport vest or whatever. It's like I'm going to put my wallet, my keys, my phone, my cameras, everything I need into this thing. I'll make it work. And it works for shoes too. I mean, again, we live in California, so we have a car that could carry other stuff for us and take us from place to place in the rain. So we probably don't need to have like, Vibram soles or day-night soles that everything. But if that's what you need, like if you need to wear sneakers all the time, there are ways to wear sneakers and wear tailoring or wear menswear. Like I said, like there's that image I have of Doug wearing his flea market outfit, and he's wearing like military chinos with like vintage sneakers. It still looks cool. It's still a look. Still works for his vintage, Americana thing that he's doing. But yeah, it's.
And I mean, we talked about like if you live in a city where you're going to be doing more walking than we do in Orange County and Los Angeles, then you're probably going to be wearing sneakers with suits a lot more. And while I'm not always a big fan of the look, it always looks good on those guys, like the guys over in New York, because it's what they had to do, and it just makes sense. It doesn't look like it's being forced or anything.
Right. And there's an idea where where you are should kind of affect what you dress, and be self-aware about it. Like obviously we're not going to make you like wear a 3-piece or something and you're in fucking like Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Like you don't need to do that. But there's a way to kind of figure out what you want from menswear and kind of make it work for your lifestyle. I mean, again, a lot of guys in the Discord have different lifestyles and different needs from their clothing, and we all still wear what we do. I mean, talk to Kyo. I mean, Kyoshi's a pretty good example, and the guys in New York where you have to brave like crazy snow, and it's a trend to wear a parka with your suit, but sometimes you gotta wear it if you really want to wear a suit, but you also want to keep warm, It's gonna be a little like, and the people who would say that doesn't work are people who are not open-minded, who don't get forced versatility, and who just don't get the idea that menswear should be practical, and aesthetically pleasing. You can literally have both.
Yeah. Well, like I was gonna say, I think just so much of it, and a lot of what we've been talking about recently just comes from you shouldn't be afraid to wear your clothes out.
Yeah.
Don't your clothes are meant to, if you just get down to the brass tacks, it's just something that's meant to protect you from the elements. That's how you can treat it.
Yeah. And that, I definitely think that contributes to slouch. I think that slouch is kind of like the opening ground, but there's a lot to expand on here. There's a lot to open your mind to, because People have done it for a long time, and people continue to do it today. You know, Bill Cunningham looks great with his camera on his bike with the chore coat. Like, he's not wearing a fucking, like, you know, biking outfit to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, you know, there are people wearing, oh yeah, we have parkas and anoraks, you know, like that. Those are really practical and they look cool. You know, these things still work, and there are brands making variations thereof today. You know, there are ways to find this, even if you're like, okay, well, I don't want to wear something, like I want to wear something that I can wick moisture. Well, fine. There's, you know, there are like Loro Piana, like rain system, like there's fabric from Loro Piana that has like waterproof. You know, there are high twist wools for a reason that don't wrinkle. You know, there is so much in menswear that you just need to open your mind to it and do a little bit of research, find out, and
Doing
talk to
research
people.
is important, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, you know, you can't, like everything, you cannot go into the mall and expect to be in the same clothing that we do. There's a little bit of vintage, a little bit of contemporary commissions. There's a lot in there, but you know, opening your mind to those possibilities, and like Spencer said, realizing that clothing is meant for you and that you can live in it will do you so many favors, and that will make you look cool. Slouch will come with
Yeah.
there. Again, love seeing Ryan just sitting there with his suit, pockets full of markers, just doodling away. That is so cool. It's not fake.
I will, and
It's, you know, it's authentic to him.
really quick, I will say, so I think a lot of people would say it's like, well, I'm spending so much money on this, I don't want to ruin it. Have you ever like completely worn through a suit by using its pockets or anything? Like maybe like not, let's say like not a vintage suit that's, you know, 80 plus years old and you like blow out in the crotch or whatever. Have you ever like ruined a suit by wearing it too hard?
Yeah, I
Oh, you have?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. It doesn't happen. Like it could, but like we've been in this for years and years, and I've never like ruined a new thing because I've worn it too hard.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know, and especially if it's something casual like milsurp or workwear, like you can just patch that shit right up, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it even cooler. I mean, again, we don't try and buy new things too often. I had to patch up my OCBD. I think I mentioned that too, like on the elbows because it blew out. And I love that thing. It's patchy, and it still can take a beating, man. It's proof that after like like 40 years, it can still take a beating, man. And that's really what you want. Looks with same thing with footwear. You know, these are really, they're practical. You know, and there are definitely ways to get in that. You just need to look around and expand your mind. And check out the images. Check out the images that we included as inspiration in the show notes. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for listening to this episode.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our talk on this. We're probably going to follow this up with a panel discussion on our stream as we normally do on Saturdays on twitch.tv/Sound Direction. Starts at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturdays. Goes till about 10. You can send in your outfits on that day to us to be on Set Hit
Saturday.
But if you don't want to do that, you just want to watch us play video games, you can come in on Wednesdays at the same time, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We just chill out, maybe talk about menswear, talk about life, talk about feet pics, apparently.
We did that once.
Did it just once. We don't want to set a precedent for that.
Yeah, this is not going to be a recurring topic. I'm drawing the line.
You almost said putting your foot down.
I'm putting my foot down.
Taking a picture.
And yeah, I'm putting on my foot down, taking a picture, and then sending it to the Discord.
That's right. You should do that.
Oh yeah, join the Discord to get the feet pics. If you want the feet pics, go to patreon.com/style and direction. $5 a month gets you access to that Discord. $10 a month, we say your name.
That's right.
And you also get access to the Discord and a bonus episode. Both of those get bonus episode.
Yeah, both. Yeah, the only thing you're paying $5 extra for is the name. So thank you to Austin Malott, Shane Curry, Philip Gard, Audrey Jessica, Jeremy Ostriker, and Guy Zhang. Thank you very much for being our top tier patrons.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else we need to plug?
Nope. No. Plug it in. Damn it.
Well, my Instagram is Spencer DSO.
Yeah, I was thinking of a joke, but I couldn't do it. My Instagram is at Ethan M. Wong. You can follow the Instagram of the podcast on Sound Direction, all spelled out. There's a lot of cool stuff. That's where we put all the pictures of everything we talk about, as well as the show notes. Sometimes we post some of our favorite Studded Saturday stuff on that. We're starting that as an option as well.
That's right.
So follow it. And a big thank you to our producer MJ for producing the podcast. Don't get on mic. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
Is that a new way to close it?
That's how I'm closing it.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.